No, this is something else.
Yeah, get it.
That's wrong when we're not gonna do that sheriff.
Yeah, but, you know, I don't.
That's the one.
Yeah, they pushed me down. So I know where I stand as well. So I'm gonna have to use money up with you, okay? I know you did. I think that's great. I think that's well, you were here for a while. No, I'm right here. But we're not gonna call it a conspiracy or anything. Accidentally, yeah.
The one they took back.
Yeah, this right here.
That one he took back.
This one is property.
That goes back to Kenneth. He's not doing that right now because sheriff's not here.
That's very rare.
Hey, this go back to get the sheriff now.
It's in your packet.
Hey, ask William is he gonna do it for the sheriff.
That's not what it is.
Oh, okay.
Then not to the general. You like?
Check it out. I got it around. Have that.
He can have a full time, but not a part time.
That's pretty good.
That's right. You can have a full time. You can have a corner and a full time
That's what he needs.
assistant.
Yeah, that's what
But you cannot have all of them.
yeah.
Some of them people right, they got to go.
I don't.
Yeah, you need somebody that's gonna be there. No.
Yeah, I just grabbed.
And see, that
Man, they ain't got no money.
and
They ain't getting paid.
see, that'd be where Dennis and he would work out a schedule between the two and be on call.
Probably are speaking. More vending himself, because I'm from a nonprofit, and they do that, they reach out, and I think that's what we do.
Chief Deputy won.
Oh, no.
Until they appoint somebody.
Good morning. I'd like to call this business meeting to order. As you know, Monday is a holiday, and we did not have a work session. So we got to clean up some things here. And Leanne is sick, so we're happy to have Vicki with us this morning. And the administrator's portion, they have the two items. She requested that those be deleted at this time. But we're pleased to have Reverend Jean Keel. If she would come to the microphone. And she is pastor of the Veterans Outreach. And Ms. Keel, would you lead us in our
Yes, I will.
invocation?
Thank you, it's my honor, madam.
And then we'll have the pledge to the flag, Commissioner Corbett. So rise
Thank
and
you.
remain standing.
And please bow your heads in prayer. Oh, merciful and gracious Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for what you have brought us through, Lord, because we know through these last perilous weeks of storms and hurricanes, you looked upon Phoenix City and you passed the storm over us. Lord, I want to thank you for our first responders, our police, our sheriff, our homeland security, for our coroners, Lord. We thank you for all those that work in harm's way. We thank you for our military and our veterans that continually fight to watch over this great country, Lord. We ask you to have your way with them, Lord. We ask you to bless our veterans and military. We ask you to bless this great leadership, the county commissioner, Lord, as they prepare to pray over and look over the infrastructures of this county. We ask you to be in their mind, be as one, on one accord, to be overseers of the people in this county that you swore to serve. We thank you for our county attorneys, Lord. We thank you for all that are present, Lord. And now as we prepare to go forth with the structures of this county, we ask that we seek your face. You said, call to you, and you shall answer. Jeremiah 33:3. You shall answer. You shall show us great and mighty things which we do not know. All things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Turn the flag. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May be seated. Thank you, Reverend Keel.
Thank you, madam.
We do have a couple of public comments, I think, here. Miss Pamela Fair.
Pam's coming down right here.
Okay.
Chair, she's making her way down. She reached out to me and I asked her just to come and present to the commission. She's asking for funding for a project for our kids in the community, so let her speak to it. I wouldn't do it justice.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me here today. I am Pam Fair, and I'm the director of Safe Kids Columbus. This is a coalition that's actually been in existence since 1998, and it was once founded and led by Public Health for many years, and now it is led by Columbus Regional Health. It had sort of a lapse in 2015 and a little bit of 2016 during that transition stage, and I am back trying to help rebuild our coalition because we want to look out for the safety of our children. Safe Kids, basically what we do is we monitor emergency room data. We see what comes in our ERs, what's hurting our kids, and then we go after it. We try to stop it. You know, I tell them all the time, my job is to put them out of business over there at the hospital and the ER. But what we see predominantly that hurts our kids, when you look at accidents, not sickness, but accidents or injuries, unintentional injuries, things that parents did not mean to happen, what tops the list? There's a couple of things. First and foremost, car crashes. That's what hurts our kids the most. That's what comes in the doors the most. That's what we see where we have the most severe injuries is through car crashes. And what we also see is that parents are not using in car seats sometimes at all, or they're not using them appropriately. Our Georgia law requires that a child be on an appropriate restraint until 8 years of age. We often don't see that happening in a lot of families. Also, we see a lot of falls for kids, especially those that are using wheeled devices, bikes, skates, scooters, so forth, and they're not wearing a helmet. So those are two of the big problems that we see, with a lot of other trending issues that we could talk about, but I think it says only have 3 minutes, so we won't do that. But lots of things going on with our kids, and we're out there trying to help families connect. One of the things that we offer is a car seat program where if a family is eligible through low income, they cannot afford a car seat of their own, we offer a course that they can take. It's about an hour-and-a-half class. We teach the family how to put the baby in the car seat. We also go out with the family to their vehicle and make sure they have the car seat installed correctly. So it's really not doing much good if the car seat's not in the car right. And we see a lot of errors and misuse around that. So my point here today is that as we're rebuilding, I don't have a clear funding stream for Alabama, but I get a lot of calls from parents who live in Alabama. And to me, to us, to our coalition, a baby is a baby is a baby. It doesn't matter where the baby sits or where the baby lives, the family needs our help. but I don't have a clear funding stream to help families in Alabama at this moment with our car seat program. Typically how that works is parents will come and they'll call and make an appointment. There is a $20 charge for this class, and you get at a retail value probably about $130 car seat. We provide this car seat if the family is eligible. That would mean they would be enrolled in something like Medicaid or WIC or Peach Care or something to that effect that would kind of qualify them in that lower income status who would need our help. And they don't currently have a car seat, or they don't have an appropriate car seat for their child. And then we'll enroll them in our class, and we do the education and try to make sure they leave there knowing how to properly restrain their child. And we have seen that this really is effective in helping to reduce injuries and deaths. And another program that we offer in our community is around the holidays. We know that kids get a lot of bikes, skates, scooters, but they don't often get the helmet. I never have quite understood that, but they don't. We see a lot of surge in our ERs right after Christmas where we see traumatic head injuries, where kids can take months or years to recover from a head injury. That is a slow process, and it's really hard on a family, very costly. Also, we see a lot of concussions just from kids falling off their wheel devices. So right around the holidays, we offer a helmet program where parents come in and the family is educated about the importance of a helmet and then shown how to properly use a helmet and how to properly fit it on the child's head. And as a part of this process, we provide kids who come, we fit their head with a helmet, and kids get a helmet along with the education. So I'd like to be able to extend these programs to Russell County, and I basically am asking for some funding assistance to do that. And I have a plan. It's not just I'm not here just asking for money and that's it. I actually have a plan. What I'd like to do is try to get the funding, and I'm asking for $750 because I have a waiting list right now of about 10 families from Russell County who need help, where I told them I have to put you on the list until I can see what I can work out. And then I would propose that together, someone from Russell County, perhaps someone from Phoenix City, and someone from Safe Kids, which would be me, I'm more than happy to do this. Let's write a grant to United Way, and let's kind of get secure funding where we always have funding for Russell County. So that is a process. It takes time, but we have needs now. We have families waiting now. So I'd like to kind of maybe put forth the request that we come together and let's solve this problem together on a permanent basis, not just a temporary asking for the money. I asked Phoenix City as well I need $1,500, but I asked Phoenix City for half, and then I'm asking the commission for the other half, and then that would carry us until the middle of next year, just kind of projecting what the seats cost and how many families we could serve, and then we'll fix this thing hopefully on a permanent basis. So that's my request.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
this is actually on the agenda as well, so Pam, you didn't have to sign up for the 3 minutes, but that's okay.
Okay.
That was kind of our work session for the morning, but if you'll hang around for a few minutes, I'd like to keep this on the agenda.
Sure.
As she stated in here, Mayor Lowe told her that, hey, we're pledging half, if the county's doing half. I think this is a worthy thing, so I'd like to ask that be on the agenda today.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Fair, thank you for coming and for reaching across the river to Russell County for this.
Yes, we want to include Russell County. We don't want to exclude. We want to love on your families just like we do those in Georgia and the Columbus area and those counties surrounding. So we don't want to see any difference. There's no difference to us.
The child is precious.
Absolutely.
I just got a question, and I don't know how many do it. I know the insurance company that I use provides car seats at a very, very, very reduced amount. So
Sure.
all these people, if they're driving, they have to have insurance. So all the insurance companies do that, or just?
Well, they don't provide often.
It's not
unless,
free,
right?
but it's like $20 for $150.
Well, I don't know about that. So if that's in existence, I need to know about that. But I have referred parents who call me to say, I've been in a car crash, and can you help me get my seat replaced? I refer them back to their insurance company. Because if they have insurance and they've been involved in a crash, that's probably something that would be covered. So we don't have to use, our stockpile. But for, let's say, for instance, I have someone on the list who's a grandmother who's on a fixed income, and her 16-year-old granddaughter who lives with her is pregnant. She's never, she doesn't even have a car. She doesn't have a way to go. So she would not have any way of, she doesn't have a job. She's still in school. So it's that sort of thing. If they're expecting a baby, I don't think the insurance company would provide one up front that I know of. I can look into that. I would love to know more about that.
Okay.
Give me some information,
I
'cause I'll
haven't checked
follow up.
into it, because I know I just bought one for my grandchildren and paid a lot of money for it. And I
Yes.
went into my insurance company and I saw one sitting there and I say, what's this? They said, we provide these to our policyholders, and it's a very reduced price.
Sure. Which
I'm not
company?
going to tell you that.
Oh.
I can't tell you. I would like to, but I might get in trouble.
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
Okay.
Pam, later.
Okay. So I didn't hear from you, but anyway, that's another avenue. We always look for partnerships like that, and we do have some partnerships that help us, especially with our operating costs and so forth. So absolutely, we're open to in any way possible to make this happen for the families of Russell County and the Chattahoochee Valley.
Thank you again.
All right, thank you.
Just hang back.
Okay.
Next, we have a gentleman here to speak to us, and his name is Stephen Robinson.
Good morning to the commission. Good morning to all the citizens out here. My name is Stephen Robinson, and I'm president of the Phoenix City Russell County NAACP. And I'm here today to talk about the candidate forum for District 2. As you may know, District 2 was a seat held by my brother, the late Johnny Robinson.
Yes.
And we want to give the candidates a chance to present themselves to the community and let us know about their ideas. The NAACP has a policy of not supporting any particular candidate, but what we do support is participation in the electoral process and for us to exercise our rights as citizens in this democracy. So as on the ballot will be 3 candidates: Vicky Carter Johnson, Steve Franklin, and Baxley Oswald. And on Monday, October the 16th, at 6 p.m., we'll be at the Central Activity Center, and these candidates will have the opportunity to present themselves. And so we just we're getting as much publicity out about it as we can, and we want to have participation. And we would like the commission's support in making sure that this is an election that the people know about and people come out and participate. And thank you.
And the election date is November 14th.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Thank you so much, Mr.
All right,
Robinson.
thank you.
That ends our public comments. I want to thank the cable TV and the Citizen News being faithful to cover our county commission meetings. And also, I want to welcome the elected officials that may be here. Is Miss Vivian here from, good. We're always glad to have you from Huttsboro. And also for the department heads. And you are appreciated. I know sometimes you think you may not be, but you are, and we do appreciate your being in attendance, as well as any other media and any guests, like Ms. Pam Fair. We appreciate you. The roll call would be, our assistant administrator will call the roll.
District 1 Lee.
Present.
District 2 Currington.
Here.
District 3 Martin.
Here.
District 4 Reed.
Here.
District 5 Epps.
Here.
District 6 Corbett.
Here.
District 7 Screws. Quorum has been established.
And now, since, as I said earlier, we did not have a work session, so we are going to have to tweak some items. Ms. Vicki, will you tell us which ones that we'll delete?
The only one I know of is the administrator, 2 items.
Okay.
And I don't know if y'all had time to go over the minutes or not, if y'all want to table them. Remove
Yeah,
them.
yesterday, we had decided they're very lengthy, and I started reading the draft, so we'll wait till next time, but then we'll have 4.
Madam Chair, if I can, on the under discussion District 6 Planning Commission, I'd like to take that off to the next meeting.
Okay.
The person I asked told me yesterday they were not able to do it, so.
Okay, and which one is that one now?
District 6 Planning
Oh,
Commission
yes, I
appointment.
see. Okay,
I'll be ready at the next meeting for it.
okay. Any other business items or discussion?
If I could, I'd like to add those, grant.
Yes. I thought she had done that yesterday, but,
Those came in late last week after.
Right.
the deadline.
but we need those safe houses. Okay.
Chair, I have one more.
Okay.
I had a lot of questions for the administrator under the Ms. Epps. I was going to ask Ms. Epps if she would be willing to take the contract from Metcole and put it on the next meeting, because most of the questions I have are actually for the administrator and not for Ms. Epps, and she's not here. I'd like to see if we could put that off till Ms. Horn could actually be here and answer the questions for me. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, all right, that will be tabled till next time. Any other adjustments or amendments?
Thought we heard from the deputy contract, it's going to be taken off.
Okay.
The sheriff has been in some discussions with the Leanne and the mayor of her firm. I've not been privy to those conversations.
Where is that?
Actually, it didn't get put on.
I don't even think it's on there.
So,
Although I have prepared the contract, everybody has it, but it's not on the agenda.
I don't see it on mine.
No, it's just not on there.
I think what happened is maybe Leanne took it off before we got here because it was on the one that got emailed out, but it's not on our agenda up here. Is it on the one that was handed out? Okay. We have 2 different agendas then. So maybe we'll go down the agenda items before we approve it.
okay.
Maybe Vicki can do that for us. Sorry, Vicki.
Would you call out the agenda as we've amended it?
Proclamations, we have the Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Under discussion items, we have engineering work orders, procedures, and timeline. Deputy coroner, potholes for the courthouse parking lot. Under business items, we have the Safe Kids program, courthouse back entrance, wiregrass appointment, handicap restroom construction contract, storm shelter grant, state local disaster assistance agreement, camera bid results, and we added grants again, Bob?
That is the storm shelter.
Okay.
It's not on our copy.
Okay,
She's already got it. Yeah.
okay.
And
And we removed the administrative items. Under attorney, we have the attorney general opinion and executive session, economic development.
and also Ms. Epps.
Oh, yeah, and we removed the contract for Metcole.
You want to remove that?
I think so.
Okay,
Okay,
that's you.
Madam Chair.
yes.
I talked to Leanne yesterday, and on the Attorney General opinion, that's gonna have to be related to the auditor, and the auditor's gonna tell us the question.
Oh,
So we don't have that, so we probably ought to pass that,
okay,
go to next time.
all right.
Madam Chair, one more question for Vicki. Vicki, do you know if there was a deadline on, I'm looking at the letter now from the city about the Christmas float? To make sure we don't, I mean, I don't think that's anything we really need Leanne to weigh in on. We do it every year. Is that something we should go ahead and approve? I just didn't know if there was a deadline for it. It says as soon as possible in the letter.
That's all.
It's not, so we're
The
good.
next meeting would be fine.
Okay, next meeting, that's fine.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I probably ought to add to economic development and personnel issue.
And personnel issue. Okay, do you mind read again what we've adjusted?
I move the agenda be approved with all these
Everybody
changes.
understand it?
Yep. I second, Madam Chairman.
Okay.
District 1 Lee,
Yes.
District 2 Carrington,
Yes.
District 3 Martin,
Yes.
District 4 Reed,
Yes.
District 5 Epps, District 6 Corbett.
Yes.
District 7 Screws. The agenda has been approved.
Okay, so we'll begin with proclamations resolution, and Miss Jamie, please, will you come down? And this is in reference to Domestic Violence Awareness Month, which is October.
Why don't you use her phone?
Do you have the original?
Well, that's all right. You can send it to her.
Do you read it?
Proclamation for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Whereas domestic violence is a serious crime that affects people of all races, ages, gender, and income levels. And whereas domestic violence is widespread and affects over 4 million Americans each year. One in 3 Americans have witnessed an incident of domestic violence. And whereas children that grow up in violent homes are believed to be abused and neglected at a rate higher than the national average. And whereas domestic violence costs the nation's billions of dollars annually in medical expenses, police and court costs, shelters, foster care, sick leave, absenteeism, and non-productivity. Only a coordinated community effort will put a stop to the heinous crime. And whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month provides an excellent opportunity for citizens to learn more about preventing domestic violence and to show support for the numerous organizations and individuals who provide critical advocacy services and assistance to victims. Now therefore it proclaimed by the Russell County Commission the month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and urge the citizens of Russell County to work together to eliminate domestic violence from our community. In witness thereof, I hereunto set by the hand and seal of the Russell County to be affixed on the 11th day of October 2017.
Motion to approve.
Second, Madam Chairman.
You can do
District
it by.
1 Lee,
Yes.
District 2 Carrington.
Yes.
District 3 Martin.
Yes.
District 4 Reed.
Yes.
District 5 Epps.
Yes.
District 6 Corbett.
Yes.
District 7 Screws.
Y'all turn around. There you go.
Now we're back. Thank you. I just want to thank everybody for this, from our office and staff. We have a fabulous office and staff that, deal with this every day. And it's really a tough subject. It truly is. Unfortunately, we have to be here. We're the only nonprofit in Russell County that shelters domestic violence victims and children. And we just can't do it without the support of the community. We'd like to invite everybody out to our Fall Festival on the 28th from 11:30 to 4:30. Hollywood Connection is supporting us. We're going to have all kinds of free things for kids and raise money for the Crisis Center. So thank you all again for this. And wear your purple this month. So
Yes, thank
thank
you.
you.
Discussion items would be the engineering work orders, procedures, and timeline, and that is Currington.
I have checked on this because I've heard several different stories about how you do this, how you get them put in, and what's done with them. When you go to check, sometimes doing it the way I was told, you don't find nothing. So I went and got with Sean. He showed me a little video show he has there, explains everything, who's in charge of what, and I'd like him to expand on this of how and what you need to do to get this accomplished when you put a work order in.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioner.
Good morning.
I talked to Carl Friday, and he said he had heard different stories of how to do work orders. Some people would tell him to call me. Some people would tell him to call the maintenance superintendent. Some people would tell him to call our office and talk to Ronnie and Ann. And as I explained to him, yes, that's all right. And about different commissioners, I might need things looked at. I do go look at them. Sometimes they want Frank to go look at them. But all in all, when a work order gets turned in our office, even if y'all call me or Frank, we turn it over to Ronnie and Ann. They put in a work order. We've got a SIMS program, which now the sanitation department's using too, that keeps up everything from our budget to our work order, so we can go back and pull history of work orders for the last 10 years of how many work orders have been done on a specific road. So, but the only thing we're asking, this is what I told Carl, Commissioner Currington, I'd like to leave it on here, is because, when people call in a work order, we do like names and addresses and phone numbers, because some people have put in, there's a limb on Sanford Road needs cutting. Sanford Road is a lot of miles long. I know we go out there and ride the road and look for a specific limb. We might not get that specific limb. So if y'all would call in work orders, or the citizens call in work orders, please give an address, a phone number we can contact you back at. Because once a work order is put in, my superintendent and another guy at our office ride and look at every work order, document on the work order what needs to be done, and prioritize it, whether it's something that needs to be done immediately that is causing a road damage or drainage damage, or it's something that can be done like weed eating around the mailbox, something that can be done several weeks down the road. But we do like to contact the citizens and let them know, hey, we're going to get out there within the next couple of weeks or next couple of months and try to get your problem done. And if we can't reach that timeline, then we like to have a phone number we can return the call and tell them what's going on. So as I told Commissioner Currington, I'd like to explain this to everybody and the citizens to hear. And there's also a couple different ways you can turn in work orders. We work Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5:30, and we've got an email address at workorders@rchd.us. You can email in a work order. And we've got a Facebook page, Russell County Highway Department, that you could go in there, message or comment a work order and on the page itself. Because that's the only way we can find out problems around the county. I've got 35 employees out on the job every day, and we can't ride 600 miles of road monthly. Some work orders take a week to do, some take 10 minutes to do. So last year alone, we had, I looked this up yesterday, we had 1,352 work orders called in. That's about 7 work orders a day called in. So that's what we deal with daily. 35 people manage that many work orders. So that would be them averaging doing about 7 work orders a day. Like I said, and we have some work orders that take 2 weeks to do, a week to do. But y'all have any more questions about that? As I told Commissioner Currington, anybody got any questions, I've got a slideshow how our whole department runs that I started when Commissioner Corbett did the Citizens Academy. We put a presentation together, and I've kind of evolved that presentation into how our whole department runs and what each of our foremen do and what each of our engineering staff does. So.
I got a lot of
Madam
good
Chair,
feedback
I'm
from the people that saw that as well. The people that run the Citizens Academy had some good feedback on it.
Well, and that's what I like getting up and explaining things like this, because a lot of people, I didn't know 9 years ago when I started what the county engineering department done or the highway department done. I lived in the county my whole life on a dirt road, and I just magically every 3 or 4 months, the day before it rained, the motor grader bladed our road. So, and there's always the day before it rains, so I didn't know you could call in. And that's what we're here to educate the public on what we do, and I like the Citizen Academy because it did educate the public, let them know what we do, because most people think we do nothing on a daily basis.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would like to thank the engineer, Sean, and his department, because I do call in work orders. Matter of fact, we're going to go riding. We go riding sometime. I haven't had any complaints about the work orders and how they are acted out. Some have called me and say they called in a work order and hadn't heard from me. But then 99% of the time I can, resolve that with the citizen. I would just like to thank Sean and his department for what they do for this county every day.
Thank you, and we do have occasional one slip through the crack, because 1,352 that 2 people deal with, it's kind of, sometimes you think you call somebody and don't get back in touch with them, but And I like to hear y'all's feedback on that, because we're always out there to improve. I want to satisfy every citizen.
Madam Chair, Sean, I don't have any complaints. I do appreciate your attentiveness when I do call in things, so thank you.
I have a suggestion, Sean. If you could put that on a printout, and maybe we could leave it on the desk over here when our people come to the work session or either to the business center. And that might help to alleviate some, they'll have that to make reference. The deputy coroner, Commissioner Reed.
Madam Chairman, as you know, the coroner is very important in Russell County. If the sheriff gets sick or whatever and he can no longer run his office, the coroner take over, not the chief deputy of the sheriff's department, but the coroner take over. And I'm talking about if something happened to the sheriff. As you know, I think Prentice Griffin, back in the day, Prentice Griffin took over. I mean, Leslie Vance took over when something happened to, I think, when Prentice Griffin passed away, Leslie Vance took over and the governor make an appointment. That's how it worked. But anyway, to make a long story short, I think he got enough funds in his budget. His budget don't need to be amended, anything like that. And he entitled to have a full-time person in his office. And I'd like to entertain a motion, so he got enough money. I don't know how much he's gonna start his chief deputy off, but I think he got enough money in his budget, whatever. But that'd be his call, how much he started the chief deputy off with.
Okay. You realize we got this on discussion on this.
It's on the discussion item.
Right, so.
It's supposed to be on the business item, and made a mistake on that, though. It's supposed to be up on the business item. Because I asked Bess to put it up on the business item, because I wanted to go ahead and vote it on. But that's fine, though. She made a mistake on that.
Well, we just went over the entire agenda.
But it slipped my mind, though.
Why is this coming up like 1-2 weeks after we approved the budget?
Reason
Because
why-
this came up then and it wasn't addressed.
Yeah, Gentry, but anyway, I have talked to the coroner, and he asked me, he told me he really need, because when he go out of town, he don't have nobody full-time to take over.
Doesn't he have 2 deputies?
He got 2 deputies, those deputies just want to fill in. When
But
one of them cannot, work or whatever, but he said he really he can eliminate that if he had one full-time person.
Oh, he said he'd take rid of the 2 deputies if he had one full-time?
If he had one full-time person, that would be his call, though.
I understood he said he would not do that.
Because most of the time he did, when you have a deputy, some of those people, they don't get salary. They just, they just work at the pledge, you know what I'm saying, of the corner. They really don't get no. Some of them, he had a guy that was working for him and didn't get no salary. But, of course, since this is not upon the business, I guess Madam Chairman,
We'll just wait till the next meeting.
next meeting, we just add this upon the business in the next meeting, though.
Okay. And did I understand,
He
Mr.
got enough money, though, in his budget, though,
Okay.
to hire a full-time person, and that's what we want to do.
yeah, I wanted to understand, you would be willing to give up your 2 part-time?
I don't know, Pee Wee, come up here for a second, let me ask you a question.
You can ask him right back.
Since we on the discussion right here, this full-time person, you still gonna be able to keep your 2 deputies, or what? How you gonna handle that part?
Yes, sir, Commissioner. The way it's in, it's proposed for the 2017, 2018 budget. That person would be inclusive in that already.
Oh, okay.
So not that we're trying to give up anything, because I want the county to be covered the way they have been with the part-time deputy, with the exception of adding a full-time employee.
Now, you have enough money in your budget now, right?
I do.
All we had to do is just vote it on for a full-time person, right? We don't have to amend your budget, right?
Not for that, you don't know, sir.
Okay.
I still didn't understand.
Gentry,
Is he gonna add a,
he said he gonna keep.
because the
Yes.
law only allows 2 deputies, right?
Well, the law says, one of them says 3, as far as a chief and 2 deputies. That was on Bill 575. And to be honest with you guys.
Well, which was the last one that passed? It said 2, right?
Okay.
That may have been so, but at the same time, too, Commissioner, you and I had this discussion years ago as far as my job being full-time, and it's part-time, too, so.
Madam Chairman.
That still didn't answer my question, but that's okay.
Madam Chairman, Do you think it'd be out of order though if we can, move this back down to later on, and go ahead and prove this, since it's already in the budget and everything, you think?
Well, we did take a vote on it, you know, and it was not included. It was
You
included
know,
as a discussion.
it slipped my mind, it's supposed to have been up on the business though, I asked Bess to put it up on the business, not up on the discussion.
The only way it can be moved is with a unanimous vote, and you're not gonna get that.
Madam Chair, we went over line by line of this budget 10 minutes ago. How can we say it was anybody's fault or mistake? We went line by line over every item. I don't mind listening to what the coroner presents and being fair to everybody. I want to be. But I do want to hear from the attorney, and what I would like to do is, let's put this on the agenda if that's what you want to do, Mr. Sunbury, and bring it to the table. But I want the attorney to tell us what is the latest law, because the law that was in our books during the budget process said that this bill rescinds all previous. So I want to know what the latest one is, and that's the one that had two. What I don't want to do is sit up here and blindly do something that is illegal or improper that's going to get us in trouble. So I would like for the attorney to research that, if the commission's okay, and bring back an opinion of what is slated for the coroner. Is it I'd love to know, is the coroner's job a full-time job? Can we add a full-time deputy? And how many deputies can the coroner have, if we can get that?
Can't give it to you right now.
Sure.
'Cause, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, generally, if his budget's approved, and he's within his budget, it doesn't matter whether it's full-time or part-time, as a
Right.
I'm not sure that's a distinguishing factor, since you control
Right.
the budget. And, so an employee would not be an assistant, under the law, would not be an assistant coroner, it'd just be an employee. So I'm gonna have to research that.
Madam Chairman, that is exactly what I'm talking about. He got everything in his budget, all we had to do is just vote for it, because he got it in the budget. We not amending his budget, we don't have to add no more money to his budget.
But it's more than money. There's a law that
Yeah.
governs this office.
Well,
That's the question.
Let me just throw out.
Well, Gentry, it's two pieces of legislation, but both of them entitle him to have a deputy coroner.
Exactly.
Full-time deputy coroner. It's two pieces of legislation.
That's what we
I
wanna
think,
know. That's
it-
all we
Madam
wanna
Chair,
know.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
may I just suggest that I think someone said the table and bring it back on the next meeting, give the attorney the opportunity to research and bring back what the laws say, instead of us sitting here discussing it and going nowhere with it. So, if I'm in order, I would just move to table it.
Can I ask a question before you do?
Okay.
The county commissioner, do you all have the right as far as doing anything by resolution as it relates to the law with my office?
That's what we want to know. Before we make any action, I wanted to hear from the attorney that we have the right to do it.
So you are an employee of the state, not the county commission.
correct.
So the issue I think that's been discussed is if you call full-time, you get all these benefits that the county, and so you're not a county employee, the county
And to answer,
sets the budget.
to answer your question, the latest law that was passed only addresses the county commission with the authority to set your salary, not anything else. Because the way I remember it, it's got two deputy coroners and the coroner, and we can set the salaries. We don't set whether it's full-time, part-time, or whatever. It's not even addressed, but that's the way I remember it. But we can set salary by resolution.
Madam Chair,
If you would take,
I don't have it in front of me, but I believe what that law said, Mr. Coroner, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, it set the salary of the coroner at $15,000. It set the salary of two deputy coroners at $3,000, and then that was it.
Then it gave
talk
us
about-
permission to
It didn't
adjust
talk
it.
about full-time, part-time, it didn't talk about the ability to add more coroners to it, deputy coroners to it. So that's why I'm concerned legally that we may be stepping into an area that we're not allowed to do.
I need to check it. I can tell you that he's a state employee, and
Right.
this person would not be an employee of the county where they get benefits.
let me just read the act that I have. It said a coroner, and I'm reading, I'm not starting from the beginning, just kind of halfway down. It said a coroner may appoint 3 part-time coroners to be designated as a chief deputy and 2 deputy assistant coroner. The chief deputy coroner shall receive a monthly expense allowance of up to $800 to be set by the coroner, payable out of the Russell County expense account. The two deputy assistant coroners shall receive a monthly expense allowance of up to $500 to be set by the coroner, payable out of the Russell County coroner's expense account. Section 5 says all laws or parts of laws which conflict with this act are repealed.
What's the date on that, Miss
And
F?
this date was,
Is it 2000?
2001.
This act was 2001.
Okay, so if we went by that, then the salary is set at $800 for a deputy and $500 for the assistant deputy
It also
per
talk-
month.
And this also will talk about the expenses of whatever that goes. So this is the,
I think that's
this is
an
the
old
latest
one.
act that I
I
have
don't know,
on
I
that.
think that's an old
It
one.
only
And
call
also
what-
in doing
It
some,
doesn't set expenses, it simply says the $800 is an expense. It doesn't enlarge and say expenses.
I think that we just need to do more research on this.
I believe
On
that's what
October.
I'm afraid of, is that we're pulling out legislation, and the one that you had in our budget book, or the administrator, somebody had in our budget book, specifically said at the end that this repeals all previous legislation. So I don't know if that's the latest one,
this is the one that
that's
the
the latest one, or
administrator,
which one?
this is the one that the administrator gave to me last week. So
So
this must be
let's
your
just
latest
let the
one.
attorney bring it back, and it'll be
I
on the
mean,
business.
if that's the one we're going by, then we're up here debating nothing. It says you can have it, and it says what the salary is.
That's what it says.
So is that what you asking for the $800 a month salary?
I doubt it.
No, this said
I mean, you can't
$800
take
was-
part of it,
that
and
was for the
you can't separate it. You
that's
either
for
gotta
the
take
con-
the whole thing, or,
That was for the chief deputy.
that's what I'm talking about. Are you asking for $800 for a full-time chief deputy?
No, I'm not.
Okay, that's what I thought. So you can't
So I'm
pick
just-
parts of the law that you want.
Right, right. And
I'll
I,
check if there's a more recent law.
okay, thank you. And the other thing that reverts back to too is I was trying to find out, because I never felt that I got the answer as far as whether I was a department head and what all department heads actually made, so.
You're elected, you're
Okay.
elected official. I mean, you run for election.
Right,
So you're
I
not a
understand.
department head.
Yeah, department head, in my opinion, and what I understand of
It's
department heads,
something we hire.
We hire and fire. Department heads, we don't hire and fire you.
But we called, we called the Miss Elliott, and we called the probate judge. Sometimes when we address, we refer to everybody's department heads, but officially, there's a difference between an elected official and a department head.
Well, do me a favor, Commissioner, probably stop saying that, because that gets.
It's hard
okay?
to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He's right about that.
Okay, we'll move on. And Mr. Reed, you have the next one about potholes.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chairman. As you know, when you go outside, you see quite,
Madam Chair.
Madam Chairman.
He was,
Mr. Reed is
he
speaking.
was trying to get your attention before Mr. Reed starts.
Okay, go ahead, I recognize Commissioner Cruz, go ahead.
I was not clear as to what we were gonna do about the deputy coroner.
I'm gonna check and give y'all,
Reason
Best I
myself,
can,
Ms.
opinion.
Epps offered a motion to table, and he asked to speak before we
Second.
got a second.
Well,
So
It
that
died.
kinda threw it out of order.
Well,
I guess it died, and it's just discussion.
under
so
discussion, you don't have to
take any
table
action.
discussion. Discussion doesn't require a vote, so it doesn't have to be tabled. It's just that's what it is discussion. You just take no action.
I understand you want me to check the law and give you an opinion as
Bring it
best I
back to,
can,
bring it back to next meeting.
which I'll do.
Okay. Mr. Reed, you have the floor.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, as you know, when you walk outside, quite a few potholes, and I noticed some people, when they be coming in, they, be having problems when they hit the potholes, and, you know, they not satisfied with the parking lot, I guess. So we need to go out there and find some kind of way, and I would like to see we do that right there, 'cause you go up to our judicial building, and the parking lot up there so nice and pretty, but when you come down here and you got a nice building, when you come out here and you got a regular parking lot.
Okay.
So I like to see them holes out there, you know, fixed, patch, or whatever. I like to see the whole parking lot.
Sean,
Hey,
excuse me.
We got our engineer out there, so he need
We've
to,
already got an estimate on what it's gonna do the whole front parking lot, and I already given them
Okay, okay, but isn't there a water problem?
Yeah, you just got to, when you resurface it, you're going to drain the water out so the area needs to be leveled and everything drained properly.
Isn't that water coming from the watering of these plants?
Well, that, just right there in the center, in the middle, it just all isolates that one area and it's kind of flat.
I mean, it's even wet when it's dry.
Yeah.
And the part that we patched, the first time has held up well. It just extended past that now and started.
But it's gonna have to be, all this is gonna have to be milled down because of curb and gutter, so you're gonna have to mill it 1.5 to 2 inches and come back refill everything.
And that means closing the parking lot.
But you can probably do it in sections.
We take a lot of holidays, maybe we do it on holiday.
Okay. It's okay? All right. Business items, and we heard from Ms. Pam Fair about
Madam
the
Chair,
Safe Kids.
I put that on the agenda for the Safe Kids. Based on her presentation, I did mention to the administrator, I would like to make a motion that we approve the $750 for this program for Ms. Fair.
Okay. And we do have that in our budget to spare that? I hope.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
it was up for discussion. Did you get a second on that
No,
yet?
I hadn't had a second.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And since we're in discussion now, I'm in favor of this, and it doesn't seem like a lot of money, but I really hate to approve any budget item without Ms. Horn being here. And, so I'm gonna say that Mr. Corbett will pay that $750 if we don't have it, and I'll help him.
I agree with that, I will do that. And I will say, on a side note too, Jennifer was jumping up and down on the back with Extension, throwing her hand up, that they can help Pam with the grant as well, the grant application.
Oh, wonderful.
So another resource to kind of put towards that project.
What I'm saying is I don't want to set a precedence, us approving budget items when our county administrator's not present or hasn't at least advised us on them. And, so
Madam Chair,
I'm gonna second it though.
I agree with Gentry Lee. I really though would like for our county administrator to be here so she can look at this.
Well, we got the money covered.
I know even though we got a couple, we might be able to get a grant to get a lot more money than $750.
Well, we're gonna do both.
I hope we do both.
Yeah, we do both. Okay,
Call the questions.
call the question?
District 1 Lee?
Yes.
District 2 Carrington?
Yes.
District 3 Martin?
Yes.
District 4 Reed?
Yes.
District 5 Epps?
Yes.
District 6 Corbett?
Yes.
District 7 Scruggs?
Okay, next, the back entrance to the courthouse. I personally feel, and I think you all can agree, in this day and time, we never know when we might be like Las Vegas or any of these others. And I know it's an inconvenience. I've heard that as the negative side. But if we have the back entrance by the probate judge's office, that would be entrance for employees only. And that, you can't keep all of the riffraff, I'll call it, out that won't cause harm. Were you gonna say something?
Yes, Madam Chair, have the sheriff addressed this yet? Have we asked the sheriff to look at the security of the courthouse? Because the sheriff is ultimately, required to, or not required, asked to coordinate security for the courthouse. Chief, I don't know if you have anything on that or not.
We'll take a look at it. It needs to be locked.
Yeah.
I agree. 100%.
But if we do lock it, we need to get enough signs up so that somebody has to park over there, doesn't work all the way around here, then don't find out till they get there that it's locked, and then have to walk all the way back around. So we need enough signage before you get there that that's not a public entrance. You have to go around to the front.
Well, it's hard to manage one entrance, much less, two or multiple entrances, so.
Well, I know Grover has talked about this, and like he said, he can't secure both entrances, really, in reality. Even with a pair of skates, you couldn't do that.
Well, isn't this in down here?
But if we can deter
Isn't this in
some
over here?
break-ins, the
On
number
this
one
side?
thing is public safety.
This thing, that's what I'm
And
saying.
I would like to ask our chief deputy there, Alexander, to discuss that with the sheriff.
We'll take a look at it
Yes.
Back with the chair and be ready to,
Right.
bring something back at the next meeting.
Right, like someone said to me, now they can come in back door and go up those steps, and there we are upstairs, the commission or the probate judge's
Well,
room.
they can't get in the commission office, that's for sure.
Okay, we'll take that under discussion later. Next is the handicap restroom construction contract. Commissioner Corbett.
The wiregrass.
Did we take off the wiregrass?
We didn't take off the wiregrass.
We didn't?
I thought it was still on
I
there.
thought she wanted to take it off.
No, she wanted,
Oh,
that she
okay.
put it on there.
Yeah, commissioners, on the last commissioner meeting, I had asked that we would bring the wiregrass appointment up later. After we looked into it, we found out that we can have one of the employees to fill that position. So I talked with Ms. Carla Thomas, I don't know why I want to call you Davis, about the position, and she said she would be glad to fill that position. So I'm going to recommend, do we have to vote on this? So I'm going to motion that we, Ms. Carla Davis fill that position and go to the wiregrass.
Thomas.
I don't know why I want to call her Davis. Miss Carla Davis, want to call, I'm still saying Davis. Miss Carla Thomas fill that position for the commissioners.
Second.
We have a motion and a second of appointment for Ms. Carla. So-
What's your last name, Carl?
Dudley.
That's what it used to be.
I still answer to it.
Are you, she related to the Dudleys and
District 1 Lee.
Yes.
District 2 Carrington.
Yes.
District 3 Martin.
Yes.
District 4 Reed.
Yes.
District 5 Epps.
Yes,
District 6 Corbett.
Yes.
District 7 Screws.
Yes.
and I would like to say to Miss Carla, the next meeting is 2 weeks from today, and I'll give you the card with the address on it so you can get there, okay? Thank you.
All right. And Commissioner
Thank you,
Corbett.
Madam Chair. I put this on the agenda and asked the attorney to bring us back a draft of the construction contract. Although I made notification to the commission back in September that we were working on a restroom project, and it is in the budget, and did make the notification of over $7,500. Because it's the amount it is, the auditors require a construction contract with the company. So that's all this is, it's formality, the amount of $14,500 to the company to actually finish up the restrooms, and that's plumbing, electrical, and construction items. I'll make a motion to approve the contract.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there some questions?
I will say thank you, Mr. Attorney, for working on that. Thank you.
I put draft because
Yeah.
we had to add the stuff about the hazard, not the hazard, but the insurance, construction insurance, for burn down,
Sure.
that kind of thing. So I'll just redo it without the draft on there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so we can sign it. Thank you.
District 1 Lee.
Yes.
District 2 Carrington.
Yes.
District 3 Martin.
Yes.
District 4 Reed.
Yes.
District 5 Epps.
Yes.
District 6 Corbett.
Yes.
District 7 Screws.
Okay, thank you. The storm shelter grant is Mr. Bob Franklin.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners.
Morning.
As you're aware, first let me just say that we dodged a bullet on the last hurricane. I call that my windshield wiper hurricane because it was tracking west, and then it went east, and then it went west, and then it went east, and it finally ended up west, so we did really well on avoiding damages from that. On the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, as you know, last commission meeting, we had already received the documentation for the Fort Mitchell and the Seal Community Storm Shelters. Thursday, Friday, we received all of the individuals who had applied, as well as the Ladonia and Hurtsboro Community Shelters. And I just wanted to kind of run over this real quick. On the individual shelters, the county's not going to pay anything out on that. The individual is responsible for that amount. and then we'll coordinate with them and send the claim to the state. And once the state reimburses the 75% up to $4,000, they're going to reimburse that to the county, and then I'll come back and ask you to send that money to that individual. So we'll make sure that they understand it'll probably be a 30, 60, 90-day process to get reimbursed, just depending on the timing. On the community safe room side, you see the federal share that I provided to each of you. And then on the county share, part of that's not really cash, but it does cost us money for the in-kind work that we do, and it's also property values that are included in that as well. So with that, I would like to ask that we approve the individual shelters and have Ms. Martin sign these forms, DR 4251-0017, 18, 19, 20, and 24, as well as the community shelters of 4251, 0021, and 28.
Motion to approve.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions to Bob?
I just got one question. Explain to me that again now, how the money is going to come to the county, and then we have to give it back to an individual?
Yes, sir. What they do
Is that
is-
what we did before?
That's what we've done in
And
the
the
past.
auditors have said that's okay?
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
well, that's how it has, the state's going to reimburse the county, and the county has to reimburse it to the individuals. That's what we've always done in the past.
Okay.
Okay, the public commission.
District 1 Lee?
Yes.
District 2 Carrington?
Yes.
District 3 Martin?
Yes.
District 4 Reed?
Yes.
District 5 Epps?
Yes.
District 6 Corbett?
Yes.
District 7 Screws?
Okay, Bob, you have the next one also.
Okay.
Got the rest of them.
I think the next one is the state local disaster assistance agreement. What this is just verifying and applying to the state for reimbursement for Hurricane Irma, when we had all of our folks working overtime and all the equipment that we used. We can get reimbursed up to 75% from the federal government, and then 12.5% of that from the state, and it'll end up only costing us 12.5%. And this is just authorizing us to apply for that funding.
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Epps. Second. And we have a second. Commissioner Corbett. Any questions on that? Hearing none, will you poll the commission?
District 1 Lee?
Yes.
District 2 Carrington?
Yes.
District 3 Martin?
Yes.
District 4 Reed?
Yes.
District 5 Epps?
Yes.
District 6 Corbett?
Yes.
District 7 Screws?
Okay, and you have the next one.
And the final one is, as you're aware, we got a grant, a Homeland Security grant to place security cameras in the courthouse. Our first bids came back really high, and we cut the number of cameras down, and we also went to a higher resolution and newer technology. We opened those bids on Friday, and part of the requirements was that everyone send in their state business license. As it turns out, the low bidder did not put a copy of his license in there, but I did check and verify that he did have an expired state license. And all of the rest of them that had applied had also had expired licenses because they all expired September 30th. So I would ask that we approve the low bidder with the condition that he renew his business licenses before we proceed.
And who is that, Bob?
That's going to be Elevated Security.
And this is within the grant and.
Yes, sir. And I'm glad you brought that up. This is actually well below the grant, and we did have a spec in there to add additional cameras, and we want to add those additional cameras to get us up to about the $18,000 mark where the grant was at.
Just so we need to clear this up about licenses, and so we don't get too bad of publicity on it. Licenses expire
On
on
the 30th.
September
And there's a
30th,
grace
but
period
you've
there.
got like till December, so I don't know how
Right.
long a period you have to renew it.
October
the
is the grace period, and then
the
then
whole
you get
month
it.
of October.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They don't even let you renew your license until 1 October, that's when it starts.
So
And we-
everybody's is expired.
Right. And we open bids on the 5th, so.
There's a grace period, they're done without penalties and interest.
What are you
Then 1
talking?
November, we start issuing citations and penalties and interest.
I just didn't want to get on the press that all of our businesses listed here don't have a license. If they do, they will.
They
have
do,
it.
that's right. They all expired at the same time, and they all have to renew this month.
Bob, can I ask you where Elevated is? Is it local?
Phoenix City.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Have a second. Public Commission.
District 1 Lee.
Yes.
District 2 Carrington.
Yes.
District 3 Martin.
Yes.
District 4 Reed.
Yes.
District 5 Epps.
Yes.
District 6 Corbett.
Yes.
District 7 Screws.
Thank you very
We'll
much.
move on to the county attorney portion, and he did give us a letter that, about going into executive session. So we need to have a motion and a second about that.
Chair, make a motion to go into executive session.
I second.
Okay, will you poll the commission?
District 1 Lee.
Yes.
District 2 Carrington.
Yes.
District 3 Martin.
Yes.
District 4 Reed.
Yes.
District 5 Epps.
Yes.
District 6 Corbett.
Yes.
District 7 Screws.
And I would like to read these announcements before we dismiss or recess. We're going to come back, aren't we?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Announcements are tomorrow, October the 12th. We've been invited to attend the Commanding General's State of Fort Benning presentation. It will be 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Columbus Library, and that's on Macon Road. That's 3 to 4. And then on October 14th, the Exchange Club will have their annual fundraiser. It's a sporting clay event at the Argarosa. And also there's one Brooks Memorial, that's what it's called, Brooks Memorial Sporting Clay, Lee Road 244, Salem, Alabama. And then we have down at the historical Fort Mitchell historical area is the Blacksmith Expo will be held at the, and it's, we call it the Fort Mitchell 1813 Historical Park and Museum. That's part of it.
Chair, one more, and I'm sorry for leaving it off, but on October 21st in Crawford, that'll be the final market days of the year and this calendar year. And we're going to combine our day in the park for that event as well. So it's October 21st from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we've had a, did you poll the commission on that? We are recessed,
To executive session.
and we're going
In the
Judge Probate's office.
Judge Probate's office, and we need Mark. Can you come with us, Mark?
Thank you.